Morning, everybody. We will call the Wright County Board of Commissioners meeting to order for November 30th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody. It's nice to hear such a loud Pledge of Allegiance.
It is.
Meeting minutes from County Board meeting of November 16th. Does anybody have anything to add, change, correct?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hewsome, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Review and approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything they need to add or remove?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Wetter. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they would like removed for further discussion? Not, I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. 9:02. Alicia, we are perfectly on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get till 9:07.
Okay. So Alicia O'Hare, Wright Soil and Water, and we are joined by Jeff Forrester from Minnesota Lakes and Rivers. I believe he's online. So what I am asking for today, Mr. Chair and members of the board, is for you to accept the donation of 3 CD3 waterless cleaning stations. These stations are provided by Minnesota Lakes and Rivers through their LCCMR grant for Stop Starry Stonewort. So the CD3 stations will go at the 3 landings on Starry Stonewort Lakes in Wright County. That would be Pleasant North, which is a county access, Pleasant South, which is owned by the city of Annandale, and Lake Sylvia on the west side, which is owned by the DNR. And then also to ask for your signature on a lease agreement between us and the city of Annandale, so that the county will own the unit, but it will be placed on city of Annandale property. It's a no-cost lease. It's just an agreement.
Does, these will be removed then in the fall?
No, these will be placed permanently where they are. They'll be set on a concrete block and bolted down. They will be covered in the winter time. The specific cover comes with the unit, so they will stay in place year round.
No, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is, wonderful to get these funds, so, yeah, thank you for those.
And if I may just give you an update on the timeline for them. The unit for Pleasant North, the site is ready to go. Park's already prepped the site, so basically we need a unit and a forklift, or a skid steer, that sort of thing, and it can go down on the ground. The unit for Pleasant South is very similar. They're very minor site prep, maybe some leveling out there, and we can either talk with the city or Parks Department to coordinate that sort of thing. Sylvia is a little bit further out. Is going to be construction on that site. They're going to repave the parking lot, so they're incorporating the placement of the CD3 unit in the design, but they haven't also triggered the review yet of the placement of the unit, so there'll be some paperwork, bureaucratic paperwork that will need to happen at the state and federal level for that particular site. So that one will be sometime in 2022, midsummer likely, but it's still possible the Pleasant locations could go in this year or early, as long as the site's okay, frozen ground and that sort of thing. They could go in place and just be covered and be ready for the spring.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Wetter?
If I understood right, then the SWCD is going to maintain them?
Correct, yes, and we will be allocating funds from the local AIS state fund to maintain the units. It's $1,500 a year-ish to maintain the units, and they'll be available 24/7, free of use for the public to use on their boats.
Great.
Good idea.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution accepting a donation for the 3 CD3 units.
I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Hewson. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner Ketchmark?
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous. Thank you.
Authorization of the signatures, Mr. Chair, please? For the lease agreement, is that separate, or is that all included in the resolution? I just want to make sure that we're okay.
I think there was just the one item, so I think that,
Yes,
yeah.
it was listed as one item, so.
Okay,
So everything,
okay, sounds
you're
good.
good to go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And thank you.
Early
for-
Christmas presents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And thank you to
Jeff,
Jeff
Yeah.
for working with us to get these.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for all you do.
Thank you.
.906, we'll start with Virgil Hawkins. Oh, there you are. Didn't see you hiding in over there.
Morning, Mr. Chair and Board of Commissioners.
Morning.
Today, there's one highway item for your consideration, and it's a request to approve a resolution for the unsigned parcels on Highway 19 in St. Michael that are needed for our Highway 19 reconstruction project planned for next year. There's 8 parcels in the resolution, and then we'll continue efforts with reaching a settlement with the folks, but this is required to keep the project on track to ensure it's not delayed.
You've got 7 unsigned, but you've got 3 that have signed, correct? 4?
4 that have signed.
Okay, just, on the consent agenda, there was 3 of them, I think, listed.
Oh, we better double check that.
1, 2, 3. Yep. Hurst, Steffens, and Welch.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Wetter?
could we have maybe Mr. Kreiser come up and explain the condemnation? Like how long that takes, what,
John Bowen's here.
the whole process? I appreciate
Good morning,
that.
Commissioner Wetter. My name is John Bowen, Assistant Wright County Attorney.
Okay.
I'm taking over the condemnations for Brian Asselson
Okay.
after his retirement. So I can explain, maybe could you rephrase your question or restate
Well, I
your
guess I
question?
kind of like to know what the process is for the condemnation. I mean,
Yeah.
the people will eventually get paid, right?
Absolutely, yes. So what's necessary is under Chapter 117 of Minnesota statutes, it's required that we go to the county board, get a resolution, and that's basically just to state that we have a public purpose here to begin the proceedings. They absolutely have a right to get an appraisal throughout the process. There'll be commissioners appointed. There's a long process that we undergo to ensure that they're fairly compensated for the takings. So it can be a very long process, but we do need to start it. And this is called a quick take right now. And so what we do is we file the documents, we file a petition in court, and then while we're litigating it and deciding and working on those appraisals, we're kind of working with the landowners all throughout that entire process. So this is not we're telling them this is how it's going to be. What we're doing is we're setting this up where it's a fair process, and it's all outlined in the statutes. So yes, they'll definitely be compensated.
Okay, so if they don't sign, can the project still go forward, or will that put a stop on everything?
Well, that is the reason we come to the county board, is to get the process. If they, it's really to determine compensation, but the process and the project will go forward. And that's the reason that we do need to go to county board. And there is a special 90-day quick take procedure outlined in the statutes, because time is of the essence in this. And that's what, Mr. Carlson has indicated to me, is that, we have tight timelines on this project at this point. So, so yes, they will be compensated, but the compensation will be determined later.
I guess the reason being, I know some of these people, and I'd hate to see them suffer, or.
Well, and I think that that's absolutely something that we're concerned about, and the law really provides a lot of different avenues for these landowners to be compensated. So, there's relocation assistance, there's all the different types of assistance available to landowners in these processes. So, their rights are definitely protected throughout this. And, there actually is one of the landowners right now that actually is represented by counsel, and of course, they're entitled to be represented by counsel throughout everything.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It goes to some of the, negotiations where the county has somebody that goes and assesses the property and appraises it, and then the homeowner also goes in and has somebody appraise it, and sometimes they think it's even worth more than what their appraiser says, and that's where some of the discrepancy comes in, and they have to work it out.
I can add too, for Commissioner Whiter's benefit, this is not unusual for our highway reconstruction projects, and our right-of-way agent, Jeremy, works with the landowners to acquire through a mutual settlement, and we've done that already on some of these parcels on 19, but typically we'll have a resolution like this to ensure projects stay on track, and there might be 8 or 10 parcels, but in the end, maybe they all get settled, but this is just to ensure the project gets started in time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'll look for a motion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve a condemnation resolution for the stated parcels.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, resolution, roll call vote. Commissioner Ketchmark?
All right,
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous. Thank you,
Thank you.
Virgil.
Thanks, Virgil.
Thank you.
Chief Streichler.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Morning.
So 2 items on the agenda for us today. First one is a resolution to accept the 2022 TZD grant from the state of Minnesota. Annual grant, we've gotten it from several years. Dedicated enforcement for speed enforcement, seatbelts, DWI, distracted driving. Looking to carry that forward for 2021 or 2022. The amount of a little over $32,000.
Is that about the same we've gotten every year, or is it a little bit more?
Yeah, it's in the ballpark, a little bit less than last year, by a few $100s, but otherwise it's pretty consistent.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the 2022 Towards Zero Death Enforcement Grant.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any other discussions?
I mean, this is very appreciated because we know the crashes are up and speed-related deaths and DUI, so it's good to have this extra to help our efforts.
Agreed.
I take it, Commissioner Ketchmark.
Just briefly, do you have any kind of update on the fatalities in Wright County for 2021? We're almost to the end of the year.
Yeah, I believe we're at about 16 for Wright
Which
County.
is way up compared to.
16. Which is higher than typical, so.
Are these funds used for overtime or additional traffic stops, or how do you use the funding?
Yeah, so they're dedicated shifts scheduled just for that particular enforcement, and they are time and a half shifts, yes.
Okay.
And they're also open and available to Howard Lake, Buffalo PD,
Oh, okay.
Annandale.
So-
They're all eligible to sign up for those shifts.
Okay. Can you make sure that it's over in Monticello than anywhere else?
We do try to distribute those shifts throughout the county.
Oh, I'd say Monticello,
Sure,
probably.
the northeast, Monticello does get its fair share.
Oh, good.
Are you trying to give me a ticket? Are you saying I drive fast?
I'm not saying anything, I'm just
I was,
alluding.
I was gonna say, stay to the west of Buffalo.
We did account for almost 1,100 traffic stops from those shifts last year.
Oh, really?
9 DWI arrests, about 100 or so speed citations. Not every stop is gonna result in a citation. Some of it's just enforcement or education, so.
Yep. Yeah. And that's good that we're educating the public also.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Resolution, no, any other discussion? Resolution, Commissioner Ketchmark?
Aye.
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 All right.
All right. Second item, looking to schedule a committee of the whole discussion. I'll let the board decide, but it may want to divide this into 2 different meetings because the topics can be a little lengthy. The first one is a continued discussion of
Because that's no change in status. We're the ones that put them out.
staffing, recruiting, hiring, retaining sheriff's office staff. That was a continuation of the personnel committee meeting that we had about a month ago. Kind of continue that in front of the whole board. The second one is the SRO contract rate. I know we froze that for this school year. Going to discuss how that might look in the future moving forward. And then the third, jail medical provider. We're currently with MEND. We'd like to discuss with the board how that contract looks, potentially some other options, and a short presentation by potentially another provider.
When does the MEND contract up? Is it like, what's the time sensitivity on that?
We would probably like to look at making a decision with that in the next few months.
Okay. I'm just saying, if we're breaking things out, if we're trying to get all this done by the first of the year or not, just because of it.
Not necessarily first of the year, but I would probably want to put the jail discussion, medical provider, maybe at the forefront before the other 2, if we're looking to schedule 2 different meetings.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I would like both of them early to January. I go with
That's what I was kind of saying. It would be tough for us to get one in here in December.
pretty tight now till the end of the year, but if we could look to the middle of January.
Do we want to set a date now? Get it on the books?
I think the sooner we can get it on the books, the better. Knowing, though, that first Tuesday in January is always a busy one with the organizational meeting.
Yep.
I would look or recommend, I guess, either later that week, the 5th or later, or perhaps on the same committee day, which would be the 12th in January. Just throwing out some options.
And Mr. Chair, Administrator Kelly, Chief Deputy, we're also moving, so that might be a little tricky, but if it's earlier in the month, it may be better.
Good point. Forget about that.
I'd say if we go.
Yeah, I'd say the second week.
Of course, I guess,
We don't want to go any later than that.
no.
I would say that January 5th or January 10th in the morning before HHS on the 10th. If you go with like 9:30 or 10 o'clock, you could do some on the 10th, or you could do the 5th, or break it into those 2 days.
Can't do the 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're going to be doing the staging, kind of that,
At least in the morning, I can't do it.
I can do, I'm wide open, or the 6th in the morning, or the 5th in the afternoon, 10th in the morning,
That would have to be after 10 a.m.
which is,
yeah, we could do,
that's
we could do
fine.
that.
Like, I'm open all.
Commissioner, you said that, oh, that was the 5th, sorry, we're
The
talking about
5th,
that.
yeah, I can't, morning I can't do.
She can do the afternoon on the 5th. The 6th, are you good?
Yep. As far as I know.
Well, should we break it in 2, just in case we're set 2 dates on it? And
I
do,
think
Yeah,
so.
please do, because I don't have my 20.
so I'd say we do one of them, and do you guys want to go with the afternoon of the 5th or the morning of the 6th?
Morning of the 6th.
All right, so I would make a motion to set a committee of the whole at 10 a.m. on Thursday, January 6th, and a committee of the whole at 10 a.m. on Monday, January 10th.
Second that.
Okay, so January
6,
6th,
10 a.m., and the 10th at 10 a.m. And the wonderful staff will send us good Outlook invites.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Ketchmark.
And if you got any material ahead of time for us to review,
Commissioner, you got it.
most appreciative for the medical part or whatever else. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I have a motion and a second for January 6th at 10 and January 10th at 10. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, Lindsay's not here, so I'm assuming that,
We sent the team.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Lindsay was unable to attend in person today, so Tyler and I are here to request approval of 2 items. The first one is for the purchase of 48 Omni Ballot assistive voting devices at a total cost of $206,348. We are bringing this request to you a little earlier than we intended, due to our vendor's supply chain issues. We want to get the order form submitted now, to get the ball rolling, with delivery and payment to come in 2022.
are you hoping to have these all by next November then?
August. We'd like to roll those out for all
I suppose
precincts.
for
Yep.
preliminary, yep.
We want to submit the order of request now to ensure that we have enough units to upgrade all precincts for the state primary election next year.
We have 48 precincts, or do you have a couple extras built in here?
We have new precincts that we believe are going to be formed, the cities of Monticello, Otsego, and St. Michael, as well as that would give us 3 units to use in-house for testing and absentee voting.
Okay, good. Good. All right, I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of 48 Omni ballots, assisted voting devices.
Second.
Mr. Chair, this was a planned CIP purchase, so
Yes.
it was kind of planned out because we had some grant opportunities with it that we forecasted out, so I just want to make sure that
Right.
was noted.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Wetter. I also add too that this is required by state law to have the assisted ballot devices, voting devices, for those that are hard of hearing, blind, wheelchair. It's to make
For our
life
disabled voters,
simpler.
it's a federal requirement. We currently are using the AutoMark devices, which are aging, and we would like to upgrade now.
All right. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you. Our second request is for the board to adopt a resolution approving submission of a grant application. There are just over $1.9 million available for voting equipment grant funds. We talked about the Omni ballots in the previous motion, so that would be our request, to get up to 50% funds for the purchase of the Omni ballots, as well as we would include the request to purchase 7 poll pad electronic rosters to accommodate those new precincts that we're looking for.
Motion, or Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve Wright County's application for funding for this voting equipment grant.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Wetter. Any other discussions? Resolution, roll call vote. Commissioner Ketchmark.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Charles.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Today I'm asking that you adopt a resolution approving our submittal of a grant application to the state of Minnesota for the dental clinic project. If you recall, we were awarded $1.4 million last year through state bonding, and in order to receive those funds, we have to apply for them through deed. We can't receive any money till we go through that process, and we're required to attach this resolution with the grant application.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution approving a submittal of a grant application to the state of Minnesota for the dental care facility.
I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions?
Mr. Chair, this is just one of those many, many steps that we have to receive this bonding funding that we were allocated, gosh, was it 2 years ago now? So,
I think it was October 2020.
yeah, so
Only 1 year.
only 1 year, I don't know.
It seems like a
seemed
while.
longer. Well, because I guess the lobbying
Oh.
aspects that led up to it, that made it very seem longer.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner
question.
Wetter?
Do we get are you actually asking for the 1.4, or are you asking for a portion of that?
We will apply to receive the full 1.4. To actually get paid, though, we'll have to submit for reimbursement.
Oh, okay.
So they're basically saying, yes, now you can ask for these funds. So it's even more steps to actually get paid out.
Okay, thank you.
Who would ever thought government would be confusing and, and full of
Yep.
paperwork? All right, any other discussions? Hearing none, resolution, Commissioner Ketchmark.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
resolution carries unanimous. Thank you.
thank you.
We have a public hearing at 9:25.
Correct, Mr. Chair, members of the board, we're here for a public hearing to adopt a proposed assessment for 2021 on property located at 413 Coburn Avenue Northwest in Chatham Township. This is from a court-ordered cleanup abatement. Proposed amount of the assessment is $5,773.37. So I stand for any questions of the board, otherwise we can open for public comment.
Anybody on the board have questions? All right, if not, then we will open it for public comment. Does anybody have anything they would like to say? Does anybody have anything they would like to come to the podium and say anything? Third and last time. Anybody have anything they'd like to talk about? Then we will close the public hearing.
Mr. Chair, staff has provided the board with a proposed resolution for the 2021 assessment on this parcel.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to assess the stated property of 413 Coburn's Avenue Northwest in the amount of $5,773.37 for services rendered.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Wetter. Any other discussions?
Mr. Chair, just a comment, I guess, but this is probably, most of these are complaint driven by somebody probably. I mean, we don't have county staff driving around looking for these things. So citizens there's complaints and there's a process to deal with these types of property. I know this firsthand on this property, familiar with it, and I'm glad the county's taking the proper steps to clean up when asked to do it.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ketchmark, just to let you and any townships and anyone watching know our process, this is all driven by the townships, actually. They determine what their locality is going to look like, and they send cases up to us. We prosecute them criminally. If that fails, then we end up going down a civil route like we did in this case, and our last step, and I mean last step we ever take, is going in there and cleaning it up ourselves. Unfortunately, on this property, we had to do that.
And just to summarize, there was a lot to look at, and about nine vehicles were drug off this property.
Yes.
And there was
A 30-yard dumpster.
and a big toll bill, but the county didn't fleece them for every nickel they could, because I was wondering about the scrap value. So this was peddled at a scrap yard, and that price was deducted from the toll bill as it should have been. So any cost that's going back to the property owner is going to be minus the value of the things, if any, that were taken off there.
That's correct. And Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ketchmark, we also tow them over to the compost facility, because then we do a public auction on them. And actually, one of the commercial vehicles sold at public auction. Fortunately, they were the only bidder, so they got it for $1. So the property owner didn't get much. But the bidder got something, so, yeah.
I got one question. We don't charge administration fees or anything like that. This is just strictly what it costs to have it all removed.
Mr. Chair, that is correct. Well, what is being assessed is just the cost of removal. I figure we recoup our administrative fees through any interest that we calculate, because we're charging 4% on this property. So anything that comes on, it's above our bank rate, so I consider that to be the admin fees.
Okay. Commissioner Vetch?
To Commissioner Ketchmark's point, I was still surprised that you were able to get all that done for $5,700. Just knowing the property, that was pretty,
Were you familiar with it also?
yeah, so I'm just more like, I didn't think that'd be possible to get that much done for that price, so.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Vetch, we get some good contractors out there who are very efficient. And I know Anna from Public Health helped us out a lot on this, so gave me a lot of help here, so thanks to her as well.
Okay. Resolution, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
All right,
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous. All right, second public hearing.
All right, Mr. Chair, we're here on ordinance amendment number 21-4. This is for updates to Chapter 110 of the tobacco regulations. Just so the board is aware, this matter has been published and noticed with the notice of intent, and all licensed tobacco holders in the county that are licensed by the county have been notified of this hearing, and all records of that are on file with the Finance Department. Mr. Chair, I can just kind of summarize this for the board quickly. Sections 1 through 5 of the proposed ordinance are updates to the definitions, which bring our ordinance in line with state law changes and to update the terminology dealing with tobacco. Section 6 outlines the duties of a license holder. We're making sure that the licensees know that they're responsible for training their employees and also looking to stop wage theft by making employees, or by not making employees pay any fees. We've heard is that in the past that when we find a violation, we assess the business owner, the licensee, the admin penalty, and we were informed that the business was then taking that fee out of their employees' paychecks. So we're trying to stop that and update this and incorporate some of the state law wage theft provisions into the statute as well to stop that from happening. Section 7 is an update for age compliance checks to match state law with the new T21 update at the state level. Section 8 is an update to the application process and the data required on the application. Section 9 is a change of just removing the auditor treasurer and inserting the finance director since we had a change in offices and administration. Section 10 is a signage requirement regarding underage sales. Section 11 is clarifications to locations near a youth-oriented facility. If the board is aware, we had some issues dealing with that last year, so we're trying to clarify and tighten up that language on where a youth-oriented facility is located. Section 12 prohibits persons under the age of 21 from entering a tobacco shop. That's a place that primarily just sells tobacco, so anyone under 21 wouldn't really have a purpose to be in there since they primarily just sell tobacco. Section 13 is just updating the penalty section. And lastly, Mr. Chair, I noticed on the copy that was submitted to the board, we still have an effective date in here of November 1, 2021. That I'm asking that the board change that to January 1, 2022. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chair.
Does anybody up here have any questions? If not, I will open the meeting for the public comment. Does anybody have anything they would like to state regarding this? Does anybody have anything they would like to state regarding the public hearing for tobacco ordinance amendment 21-4? Does anybody have anything they'd like to state for the record for tobacco ordinance amendment 21-4? Sarah, do you have anything that you'd want to add? Sarah's our public health director.
Thank you, Commissioners. No, we've worked with Greg's office and him and my staff to come up with the modifications. We sort of worked through and troubleshot those couple of licenses that didn't go the way we expected under the first revision. And we were the conduit for any concerns in writing, and we received none.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, I will look for a motion for the resolution.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the tobacco ordinance amendment 21-4.
With the effective date change of January 1, 2022.
With the stated effective date change.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Vatch, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Is there any other discussions? Very Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner Ketchmark?
All right,
Aye,
Aye.
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 Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice and clean, I think.
The other one is at 9:40. I'm assuming we'll have to wait a little bit. Commissioner Vetch, can you quickly do the committee minutes from the Broadband Committee?
All right, so, which seems like forever ago, November 16th, the Broadband Committee met, and we had a big discussion around franchise agreements, which I think we've had some discussion here at the board at one of our meetings as well to this. We've been working with Flaherty and Hood with staff and trying to collect all of the franchise agreements across the county. The discussion kind of revolved around Wright County being unique with the volume of ISP providers, with 16 or 17 of them, where most counties across Minnesota have around 3 or 4 ISP providers. So when having a large volume of ISP providers, it makes complications when coming to franchise agreements, because the state law requires that these franchise agreements be linear. So if the current ISP provider in that county has a franchise agreement as such, that means the new one has to come in and agree to that, and getting 2 entities to agree to something is complicated. Getting 17 to agree to something is almost impossible. So with that being stated, we're working on trying to collect all of the franchise agreements that are out there across the townships and the municipalities, and working on putting together a model agreement. And then when we get this model agreement, we want to kind of, the intent is then to go around to the cities and the townships to get their buy-in to this model agreement. And then with that model agreement, tie that model agreement to the ARP funds, and to tie it to our support for them to get any border-to-border grants. That way, there's some leverage for us to get these ISP providers all on the same playing field when it comes to franchise agreements, which will then make the process of getting the fiber in the ground much more swift, because we found historically that some of these projects have been held up months, and then at the end of the day end up not even going through in the county because they couldn't come to an agreement on a franchise agreement, so they just run the cable all the way through the county and don't even hook up to anybody. So that, which is a huge travesty. So with that, so the recommendation was for staff to continue to work with Flaherty and Hood on that model agreement, as well as staff to continue collecting franchise agreements across the county to begin that process of vetting them out. So more to come with that. The other item that we talked about was the Dig Once proposal. Many counties across Minnesota have, with new construction with roads, have put conduit along those roads in the right-of-way, so making it far cheaper to put fiber in at a later date. Wright County, as a broadband committee, we feel that this is a must-do for Wright County to help move the needle in broadband services. We wanted to bring forward a proposal of a model project to begin this Dig Once policy. The one project that we'd look to move forward with next year would be the reconstruction of County Road 37 between
18 and 19.
18 and 19. So right now the recommendation was for Virgil at the Highway Department and Fombi and IT to begin putting together the needed information and documents they would need to have for a bidding process for that as that moves forward.
And there's currently 3 ISPs that already have cable in the grounds on that stretch.
Yeah.
I believe that's what it is. So I would think it'd be easier for them to just to go through that one pipe, but that's just an opinion. All right.
So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations from the November 16th Broadband Committee.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Red, second by Commissioner Houston. Is there any other discussion, questions, answers? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. 9:39, we must have, well, we can start the discussion.
Sir.
Yeah, I got 9:40 now.
Okay.
We're legal.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. We have the public hearing regarding fees for service schedule. Typically, our process has been we try and collect all of these and do one meeting a year if possible to take effect for the coming year for efficiency. As we do have to follow the statute process, which requires us to do a posting, which took place for this hearing in 2 weeks, both the 12th and the 19th papers. Did include the affidavit for that in your packet. To date, I have received no comments regarding these fees from any members of the public. So with that, I would open it up for the public hearing here.
Is there anybody up here that has anything they'd like to add? If not, I'll open up a public hearing to discuss changes to the fees for service schedules. If there's anybody that has any interest in providing any information, please come to the podium. State your name and address. Is there anybody that has anything they would like to discuss for the public hearing regarding the fees for service schedule? Third and last time. Anybody from the public have anything they would like to discuss for the changes to the fees for service schedule? If not, we will close the public hearing. And is this a resolution or just a regular motion? I didn't see it as a resolution.
Traditionally, I believe we've just done it as a motion, so.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the proposed fees changes for the 2022 fee schedule.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. Is there any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Administrator Kelly. Greg, you're up again.
Oh, we kind of can't.
It's 9:50. Yeah,
No, it's not.
no, it's
Public hearing,
9:42,
no.
but it's not a public hearing, so
Okay.
we can,
We can take it if you want. It's up to you. Mr. Chair, we discussed this matter on November 16th. This is on the EAW Environmental Assessment Worksheet from the petition that we received from the Environmental Quality Board on the MBE sand and gravel mine in Buffalo Township located at County Highway 113 and State Highway 25. The board on the 16th directed me to draft a resolution ordering that a discretionary environmental assessment worksheet be required for this conditional use permit. That resolution is now before the board.
anybody
Mr.
up here?
Chair,
Commissioner Wetter.
I'm a little confused on the resolution. Right before where they mark our votes, it says, whereas the need for an EAW on the proposed conditional use permit for mining gravel does not meet the mandatory threshold requirements for EAW. So, yeah, we would agree to that, but when you vote, you're either for an EAW or not an EAW, right?
Commissioner Wetter,
Because it was under.
Under 40.
Yeah, it was under 40, so.
But that's in the gray area. Like, there's, 40 means you automatically, you don't even have to
Yeah.
decide. Then there's the discretionary area that anything can be ordered to it based on what we discussed at the previous meeting.
yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Wetter, that's correct. As Commissioner Vetch stated, this mine is not at 40 or more acres, so it doesn't meet the mandatory threshold. It's underneath the discretionary threshold, and you received a citizen's petition, which then brought it before the board for consideration as the responsible governmental unit.
It's just when I read that, I kind of said, hey, well, you're actually saying that, but you're voting either for an EAW or against an EAW,
Yes,
so.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Wetter, yes, you're voting for or against an EAW underneath the discretionary EAW rules.
Okay,
So by stating that, that fourth whereas is just stating literally the fact that it does not meet the mandatory threshold requirements. So we have to look at it underneath the discretionary review.
okay. That's what I thought, but it was a little in my mind.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the findings and orders that a discretionary environmental assessment worksheet be required on the MBE gravel and sand mine.
Second that.
Motion by Commissioner Veg, second by Commissioner Hewsom. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, resolution, roll call vote. Commissioner Ketchmark.
Aye.
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 Nay. No, whatever.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Resolution carries 4-1.
Greg?
Dr. Mattice, again, is just an honorary title for him. He's nowhere close to a doctor.
Not even here.
We don't know that.
No, we know that.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Requesting adoption of two resolutions today for us to apply for a Transportation Alternatives Grant for Crow River Phase 2, which is our regional trail that we master planned up a few years ago that goes from Hennepin, Carver County line up through Delano and into Hennepin County, then back into Wright County. And this section would be from Rockford to Hanover. The resolutions are basically to let you know that we're applying for the grant, let them know you accept that, and that there's a maintenance responsibility if funds are awarded. Funds would be 2027 construction. If successful with this grant application, we'd go after other forms of funding as well. And we do have this ID'd in our CIP program for that year at this time. The match for those grants.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Mattice?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Wetter?
Okay, who will have to, yeah, you're getting the grant money to put it in, and you got the match money to put that trail in. When they redid that river road, they made it extra wide, so you've got a good portion on either side on the roadbed for the bikers, the walkers, whoever else. Why does it need a trail too?
Commissioner, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Wetter, the traffic volume since we did 20, which was back in the mid-90s, I believe, have increased substantially. Safety issues out there are high. From what we are hearing and have heard from that area, the county is a desire and a need for more safe alternative forms of transportation, such as trails.
So would that trail go on the river side or the people's, or the other, the other side?
When we did the master planning process, we proposed it on the riverside
Okay.
of CSA 20. Couple reasons is we have a few touch points along there. We have two properties on the riverside that would allow for resting opportunities, viewing opportunities, touch points to the river, and then the crossing in Hanover would use the old historic bridge.
So that stretch of road, what would you estimate the maintenance on that, the cost of maintenance on that road?
Good question.
Yes.
Well, you'd be looking at crack sealing and seal coating every few years. We would not do snow removal. That would be up to.
Oh, no snow removal.
No snow
Okay, that was
removal.
another question.
We would be mowing the trail edge once every 2 weeks. Probably looking at an average cost a year of about $1,500 in labor, fuel. And then in addition to that, crack sealing every 3 years.
So who does that mowing? Does the county or does one of the cities, or is that?
We would do within our county jurisdiction.
Okay.
We do that now on CSA 12, that trail that goes down to Montrose from Buffalo, and then phase 1 of the Crow River Trail, which goes from Delano down to the Hennepin Carver County line.
So that stretch on 34 to BB Lake is?
That is the city of Hanover's responsibility.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's just some of the questions, thanks.
Is that all City of Hanover's, or is that some of it City of St.
That
Michael?
was a cooperative project with St. Michael and Hanover.
Okay.
I think the maintenance falls with Hanover.
Okay.
where the construction responsibility, construction admin, construction oversight was done by St. Michael.
Alrighty. Anybody else have anything? All right. Have we had a motion?
Do we need these resolutions voted on separately, or can we do them conjunctionally?
They are two separate resolutions, so that would be two votes. One's a maintenance one that says if we do get the funds and we build it, we'll maintain it for the life expectancy, which is 20 years. The other one is you're acknowledging us applying for the grant, I believe.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to, I guess the first resolution to apply for the grant would be first.
Yeah.
So a resolution for the Transportation Alternatives Program grant application for the Crow River Regional Trail.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second with just maybe to add that we agree to be the sponsoring agency for the transportation project.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Ketchmark?
just a question, and Mark, you mentioned the master plan, and I know there's the ongoing master strategic plan by this company that's, I think, supposed to be done by the end of December. So is this kind of a proposal ran past that group, and did they have any feedback or input on this move?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ketchmark. Right now, we're doing a strategic visioning plan for the system. The master plan was actually done 3-4 years ago in cooperation with Carver County, 9 municipalities, 3 Rivers Park District, and us. During our strategic plan, some of the input provided by citizens they spoke about this trail, and actually we did a little feasibility study to look at areas of concern, which are about 6 areas of concern that we'd have to deal with when we do design and engineering. Did that answer the question?
Well, in other words, this pending plan, these folks,
have nothing to do with the master plan for the Crow River Regional Trail.
this is already set and decided before this group that's doing this thing that's gonna be done by the end of
Correct.
December.
Correct. And that timeline is extended a little bit because we're looking at doing our next stage of public engagement in December. We'll be getting that to you probably February.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Hearing none, resolution, we'll call vote. Commissioner Ketchmark?
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous.
Thank you.
And I'll look for a motion for the second resolution, excuse me, for Mark to personally go out and maintain these.
Well, then it's a definitely,
I'd be loving that. Yeah.
With the broom.
Mr. Chair,
this is an
I'll
adopted trail program, and this one's gonna have Matthias's name on it?
Do I get a push broom or is it a kitchen broom?
No, push broom.
Push broom, okay.
Yeah, just a smaller one.
Why not, and maybe a scissors to cut the grass?
Well, that's a good idea. I never thought of that.
Yep, gotta trim it.
Commissioner
And a
Hewsome?
ruler so I get it all the same height.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chair, to adopt the resolution for the Federal Highway Administration requires that states agree to operate and maintain facilities constructed with federal transportation funds for the useful life of improvement and not change the use of right-of-way or property ownership required without prior approval by the Federal Highway Administration. Therefore, we agree to assume full responsibility for the operation and maintenance of property and facilities.
The we shouldn't be changed to Mark Matthijs.
Well, we could add his name.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Resolution regarding maintenance. Commissioner Ketchmark?
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Alrighty. Advisory Committee, Advisory Board updates. It has been so long since we've done this because of timing. I'm going to start out with Administrator Kelly?
Very well. Thank you, sir. Just a follow-up to the Broadband Committee minutes and making sure that we will be revising the 14th Broadband Committee meeting to be a committee of the whole to receive the report from Design 9 that was commissioned. So just to follow up on that, make sure we'll get that on your calendars.
That's on the 14th?
Correct. Secondly, just a heads up, had some discussions with Shane Zart from Flaherty and Hood about both our upcoming legislative meeting as well as their services and a proposal for that to renew for the next year. So he's putting that together for 2022. We'll bring that forward for review to the board. Additionally, since we don't have a meeting between now and then, just wanted to make notice to the public again that we do have our annual meeting in the evening, formerly known as Truth and Taxation, on December 9th at 6 p.m. We've tried to get some information out on our website via the left-hand tray. We have budgets and financial information, which then takes you to some budget pages, and hoping to be posting the more information next coming days with that. So again, folks are interested, feel free to attend or submit comments. We did set up an email address this year. If folks want to submit comments about the budget as proposed, they can also send those to us or contact administration. So,
How long has the budget information been out on the website? Do you remember?
we've had a 22 budget page for several weeks now.
Okay. Good.
Providing an overview of what the levy's been that we adopted as the preliminary. Have put together a PowerPoint that we're going to present at the Truth and Taxation meeting. We'd like to get that out this week as well, just so people can have the opportunity to review that. So,
Okay. Good. Thank you. Anything else?
no, sir.
Commissioner Wetter?
Nothing to really report. My voice wouldn't handle it anyways. Sorry.
So over the last 2 weeks, I've had a couple different meetings with Wright County Economic Development Partnership. One of them was a afternoon strategic planning session, which will hopefully have that rolled out for the county board to review and to share with the county EDA as we develop our own strategic plans going forward from an economic development authority. So more to come on that, but that's what we've largely been working with there. Last week, because I missed my I-94 coalition meeting because we had our economic development EDA meeting here, so don't have to report. I don't have anything to report on that, but lots of things coming up here in the next 3 weeks. I think everybody is equally as busy.
Yeah, I know.
Man, there's a lot of different things that we've done in the last couple of weeks. Especially with no board. Pardon?
Eat turkey?
Yeah. Yeah, and I hope all of you had a good Thanksgiving and got plenty of turkey and pumpkin pie. We were fortunate to have a couple extra pumpkin pies left over, so.
Ooh.
Our wellness had met on the 16th after our board meeting on the 16th. There was a website meeting with some preliminary information. I don't know if that got sent out to everybody yet or not, but it just kind of shows what the new website's going to look like. I can't remember if she sent that to everybody or not. It just kind of gives you an idea. We're going to be looking for input, so it'll be, if you haven't received it, you'll be getting it. And I guess that's pretty much about it. There's plenty of other things to talk about. Commissioner Houston?
Yeah, so basically just a couple things. Safe Communities of Wright County met, and as Chief Deputy had mentioned about the Toward Zero Death Grant was acknowledged as to be used for speeds that high priority, but incorporating also distraction and DUI, DWI. We're continuing to try to promote and expand the sober cab. So we've got sober cabs in communities, but working with establishments to trying to expand that, and it has expanded in Annandale, so that's good. And they in Annandale they have called A-Town Taxi, so it's nice to see these cabs in different communities. So, and basically getting the high visibility enforcement out for the campaigns actually it was over Thanksgiving, but then throughout December, Highway will assist with the message boards, basically saying, like extra DUI patrols or call a sober cab, that kind of thing. And let's see what else. Part of the funding that we get, we put letters to the editor once a month in, so people sign up for different, whether it's motorcycles or child restraint in vehicles, that kind of thing. So that went around, and I actually didn't come back to me, so somehow I didn't have to sign up next year. So that was nice to have all 12 taken care of, and as we mentioned, fatalities and serious injuries are up, and that's a real concern, because with a few years, I mean, we are almost down to zero. It's like 1 or 2, and the crashes are up. And we sadly are losing our executive director. She's leaving on December 13th, so we need to find another one. That's posted on the Alina website, actually. And it is a .6 position, so 60% of the time. So 24 hours is that? Anyway, and so we're looking at that, and we're also looking at updating our bylaws, because it's been some years since we've done that, but they have the right road for teens and the parent-teen presentation, and there's also schools that are reaching out to do some mock crashes for the 2022 season, so, and that's about it.
Mock crashes,
mock.
not real crashes. You said crashes. I just want to verify that we're not planning on having kids.
You just didn't hear the mock part of it.
Oh, okay, all right.
And
I'm getting old.
And I was at KRWC, and so that went well. So it was, I don't know, a lot going on, but no real other advisory committees to report on.
Commissioner Ketchmark?
No, thank you. So Commissioner Newsom, a question maybe for the rest of the board, does Trailblazer expand their service at all during these traffic safety campaigns, as far as hours or?
I'll talk to, so the way we have Trailblazer running is when you apply to the state for 5311 funding, you have to basically solidify what your hours are going to be, and they are a 6 to 6 organization. So we can't just take it and operate outside of those hours unless we would, and if you do it, you actually have to do it like uniformly. You can't just do it for a small month where you'd say, oh, the month of December, we're going to just operate till 10 o'clock. That would have to be part of your funding request that we submit the year prior. So
Something to think about.
something to think about, but is more we've always wanted to expand more evening hours, but unfortunately we've been trending about 15 plus open driver positions.
Oh.
So until we can solidify the 6 to 6 hours, which is the bulk of all of our contract rides, until we get that solidified, we can't go any further.
Yeah, right now they've reduced service just because of that issue, which is very unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
We have a meeting on Thursday with Trailblazer that it will be one of the major topics of discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, library board met, and there was an interesting presentation. There's a business that's grant funded that is available for kind of job recruiting between schools and businesses that choose to participate. And Monticello's in it for sure. Monticello School and St. Michael is maybe in the works, or they're in it also. But it makes the school instructors are kind of the middle person, and there can be correspondence between students going to the faculty and then to the business as far as mentorship, job shadowing, and that kind of thing to get students more interested in trade type. And manufacturing and that kind of things.
Yep.
And no cost to belong to it. So that was a interesting proposal out there that's available for anyone in Wright County that chooses to participate, and there's already some schools that are in it. Local EMS, fire chiefs met, and I gave some updates. Nobody had any questions about what we were up to, but they expressed that there was great interest in having mock car crashes at the schools this year. Increased interest for some reason. So they're gonna try and provide all that for those that want it. That's really all I had.
All right. Does anybody else have anything to add? Nothing to come before the board? We are,
For recess.
Chair, you were going to go into recess at the call of the chair until noon.
oh, that's right.
Because we're going to have a closed session under Minnesota Statute 13D.05 to discuss pending litigation in the matter of Wright County, Minnesota versus Purdue Pharma. So,
All right, thank you. I forgot all about that.
Yep.
We are in recess until 12
the call of the
o'clock.
chair.
Pardon?
We'll just do the call of the chair. About
Call of
noon.
the chair at, okay.
Around noon.
All right, thanks.
Okay, we can go earlier if we wanted to, at like 11:45, call the chair.
Well, we have council coming on.
Okay.
at noon.
All right,
Thank you.
so we are in recess.